Hey YouTube, now that I have the shingles on the roof and stuff, a friend of mine and he has a pavilion that's, about twice as big as the little building there, that he wants to frame out and put siding on it. And he wants to use, the cheapest stuff we can get or make, and so do I for this. So I'm thinking about using lap siding. And in order to cut lap siding, you got to come up with something that'll similar to the shingle cutter. I need to have something that'll cut long pieces of wood on an angle. So this is what I've been working on. This is just a little mock-up of something that I plan on making out of some heavier steel. This is just tin that I bent into an angle. I don't know if you can see that angle there. But what I'm doing is, this isn't wide enough. I'm figuring on making the lap siding 8 inches wide so I can have a 4-inch coverage on it. I could make it 10-inch and have a 5-inch covering. It doesn't really matter. One or the other, one's bigger, gets you further when you're nailing. That's about it. So this thing here that I have, let's see here, this is about, I don't know, I think that's 5 inches wide or so. It's going to have to be 8 inches, so it's going to have to come to about here. Now I made it small because this is a piece of metal I had handy just to do some snipping to. What I want to do is make at least 4 of these to hold a cant, an 8-inch cant, on an angle. So what I'll do is I'll lay the cant down on the flat bunk, or when I start with the cant, I'll lay the cant on this angle, and I'll come down 3/4 of an inch on the wood cut, and I'll have an angled cut that looks like the side of this. And then I'll take these out, pick up the cant, slide these out, and put the cant back on, and that'll give me a straight cut. Or when I slide these out, it'll give me a straight cut, which will give me 2 pieces of siding. So I'm just trying to figure out here if I should put some uprights on here to hold the siding in place, or just leave them rest against this. The problem with this is there's not enough here to hold the cant, although I can put the dogs up to hold the cant, but I'd rather have something over here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this up here about 1 inch or so that I can hold the board, the cant that's going to be on top of this. So let me just get a piece of wood here and I'll give you a little idea about what I'm talking about. Now, I didn't get a chance to clean this up here yet today, but I did cut it up. So in other words, what I'm saying is, I'm going to put the cant on an angle like that, and then when I cut it, because the saw is parallel to the bunk, I'll get an angle cut on here which will make my siding. So the video here is about thinking about doing this. I'm trying to figure out the simplest, easiest, quickest way of making this happen. So let me put this wider side down once. Yeah, you see what I'm saying here? There's very little holding on right here. So I want to put a piece on my jig to come up high enough to hold the cant. And then I can dog it with the regular dogs there when I go to cut the siding. I have 2 of them on this sawmill, so I could hold the cant with those from this side over here and cut the siding. So it'll be a matter of making a flat cut, then putting the cant on this and making another. It's actually a flat cut with the saw, but because the wood will be on an angle, it'll be an angle cut. And if I make that, what I want is I want the siding to be 1/4 of an inch thick on one side, and let's see, if I cut 1-inch boards, a quarter of an inch, I should cut 5 quarter boards, I guess, or maybe 1.5-inch boards. I'm thinking about having siding that's a quarter of an inch on the thin side and 3/4 on the heavy side. I think I might even make it 1/2 inch on the heavy side. I think I'd rather have that. So 3/4 on one side, 1/2 inch on the other side, but it's got to be 8 inches wide, and obviously this ain't 8 inches, so it's going to have to be somewhere out in here. But I was just looking to see what I might need on the real tool, not just the mock-up. So besides making this longer, I need to put a piece on here to extend up that'll act as a stop, just like this little piece here does. It has to act like a stop so that the board, the cant doesn't move this way when I dog it in place and cut it. And then I figure the best length to cut would be 12 footers, a little bit more than 12 foot, because my building here is 10 foot wide, but his building, yeah, it's 10 foot this direction, but his building is 12.5 on the one side, so make them 12 or 13 feet long, I guess. And we've already picked out the white pine log for this. So if you got any comments, I'm not looking for something that's, you know, like easy. I don't want something that's got to be mechanical, that I have to step on this, step on that, or do something. I just want to be able to simply take this thing. I'll just set you down here for a second. I'm going to take this, slide it out, and then I'll set the cant back on the bunk, and it'll be a level cut. And then I just want to be able to take this, slide it underneath the cant, and make it an angle cut. So that's what you're going to be watching me do in the next couple days. Well, guys, it's the end of this day here. I was framing out that pavilion today with the 2x4s I cut the other day. So that's done. And I actually made a couple of windows. I'll have to show them to you later, out of some of the other wood that I had laying around from the sawmill. So I'll talk to you later, guys. This is the project I'm going for next. Have a good one.